shut. Attention will be given to frequently touched areas like lifts and handrails. Office tenants can still access Westgate Tower through the basement car park and level 1. Lendlease, which operates GEM, tells CNA that all common areas will undergo additional deep cleaning, while tenants will disinfect their own premises. Its statement made no mention if tenants will get rental rebates. Meanwhile, swab tests for staff and tenants of the two malls are being carried out. Free COVID-19 testing is also being offered to anyone who visited the two malls between 10th and 14th May. Still to come, voting ends in Vietnam's parliamentary elections, with millions taking to the polls despite surging COVID-19 infections. Malaysia's Prime Minister explains why his government has not imposed a complete lockdown.
Authorities have been trying to persuade a reluctant population into taking the COVID-19 vaccine. The take-up rate has been low, and as the pandemic continues to keep normal life from resuming in the city, some businesses not only want people to just go get a jab, they also want more help from the government. That story on your next Asia First.
It's a human catastrophe of epic proportions. Thousands are dying every day in India as it battles the raging coronavirus crisis.
हमारे सामने उन्होंने दम तोड़ा, हम कुछ नहीं कर पाए. मेरी वाइफ चली गई, मेरे दोनों ब्रदर-इन-लॉ गए और मदर-इन-लॉ एक्सपायर्ड हो गई.
Has India lost control of the pandemic?
If you step out right now, you step out to die.
India's COVID catastrophe. Insight, Thursday on CNA.
CNA Leadership Summit. Presenting partner, Daikin.
The human cost of the climate crisis will become even greater.
A timely conversation on one of the biggest challenges facing the world today.
Climate change will affect every single person. A leadership summit is imperative.
In order to bring various leaders together to start thinking about sustainability.
Observing stringent safety measures, business leaders and decision makers gathered physically and virtually to discuss collective actions for a green recovery.
The message delivered was one of hope, that there are many solutions out there for climate change.
A big thank you to all the panellists and participants at this year's CNA Leadership Summit. Organised by MediaCorp. Official car partner, BMW. Official partner, RBC, Royal Bank of Canada.
There's anger in China after 21 people died while running an ultra-marathon race, and they were caught off guard by extreme cold weather and rain. The victims include many of the mainland's elite marathon runners.
The 100-kilometer ultra-marathon kicked off at the Yellow River Stone Forest in China's northwestern Gansu province. More than 170 runners, many of them experienced marathoners, wore T-shirts and shorts under overcast skies. But disaster struck around noon. Weather conditions abruptly took a turn for the worse. A narrow mountainous section of the race was hit by hail, strong winds and freezing rains. As temperatures plummeted, many suffered from hypothermia. The competition was called off. Rescuers battling the bad weather and landslides managed to account for 150 runners. The bodies of at least 21 others were found along the route. Those who survived say their thermal blankets were torn to bits by the wind. They describe runners unconscious, foaming at the mouth. The incident has sparked public outrage on social media. Many are blaming the city's government for poor planning, asking why the extreme weather had not been predicted.
作为赛事主办方，我们深感内疚和自责，并对遇难人员表示沉痛哀悼，对遇难者家属和受伤人员表示深切的慰问。
An investigation team has been set up to further look into the incident.
Taiwan's health minister has promised to resolve the COVID-19 testing jam. The government is facing criticism after abruptly raising case numbers. This weekend, 570 new cases have been added, and these are infections over the past week that had not previously been accounted for because of delays to the testing system. The health minister says hospitals were slow to report infections due to the complicated system. He adds that reporting protocols have since been simplified to reduce the delay, but that also means more backlog cases could appear in the coming week. Voting has ended in Vietnam's parliamentary elections. 69 million people were eligible to vote in the polls that were held despite surging COVID-19 infections. Voters were seen wearing masks and keeping a safe distance apart. Free masks and hand sanitizers were also offered. Vietnam is tackling its fourth and largest wave of infections. More than 2,000 new cases have been confirmed since the end of last month. The outbreak has spread to nearly half the country's provinces, with many areas under lockdown.
Trong 3-4 tháng gần đây, mặc dù phải đối phó với đại dịch COVID-19, đồng thời bảo đảm sản xuất kinh doanh, công tác, cử tri vẫn tham gia rất tích cực và có trách nhiệm vào việc chuẩn bị cho cuộc bầu cử lần này.
500 seats are up for grabs in the National Assembly. More than 90% of candidates belong to the ruling Communist Party. Sunday's polls follow last month's election of new top leaders, including the Prime Minister and the President. Malaysian Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin says that his government decided not to impose a complete lockdown because they needed to balance the consideration between people's lives and livelihood.
Dia boleh tutup, tetapi bila nak buka balik, mungkin sistem itu dah runtuh. Jadi sebab itu kita belajar. Dalam setahun ni, kita tak boleh tutup itu. Ekonomi tutup. Sebab itu kita kena imbang. It is between life and livelihood.
The Malaysian Prime Minister said this in a special interview on the COVID-19 situation in the country, which was aired on national television just a few hours ago. In a wide-ranging session, Mr. Muhyiddin addressed various issues relating to the pandemic and its impact on Malaysians and the economy. The government has imposed what's known as Phase 3.0 of the Movement Control Order, which will take effect from Tuesday. It includes tighter measures like ordering more employees to work from home and reducing public transport capacity by half. In the latest move to curb the spread of the virus, authorities have also put a cap on the time customers spend inside stores. Shoppers can only spend a maximum of 2 hours in retail premises, including shopping malls. And this comes amid a fresh record of daily cases. Nearly 7,000 new infections have been reported, Malaysia's highest 24-hour tally since the pandemic began. It is also the fifth straight day the country has seen more than 6,000 new cases. Despite all the controls imposed, Mr. Muhyiddin stressed that the best way to stem the chain of infections is for everyone to strictly follow all the restrictions.
Jadi ini satu tanggungjawab bersama. Jadi kalau kita sedia menerima hakikat, inilah masalah bersama. Yang kita kata approach kita bukan whole of government. Bukan soal whole of government. It is whole of society. Seluruh masyarakat mesti berganding bahu, baru kita boleh landaikan lengkok COVID-19.
The European Union has denounced a proposal by Myanmar's military to dissolve Aung San Suu Kyi's National League for Democracy party. The Commission says Myanmar's military showed blatant disregard for its people and due legal process. It comes as tensions heighten in Myanmar, with local media reporting anti-coup insurgents seizing and burning down a police station in the eastern town of Mobye. They also have claimed to have killed 13 security force members and captured 4. At the same time, fighting has flared near the country's border with China. A gun battle has erupted between security forces and armed ethnic groups in the town of Muse. It's the latest clash between the army and ethnic groups in border regions. There's also an education crisis in brewing after more than 125,000 school teachers were suspended for opposing the coup. That's almost a third of all teachers. It comes days before the start of a new school year, which some teachers are boycotting as part of efforts to paralyze the country. Students at the